Somewhere tonight, a 19-year-old is opening a banking app for the first time, and in 8 years, without knowing it yet, he's going to be a millionaire. Not because he's a genius, not because he inherited anything, because of one decision he's about to make in the next 10 seconds. A decision so small it won't even feel like one. Here's the part nobody tells you. The gap between $100 and $1 million isn't measured in luck. It's measured in 8 specific moments where a person almost quit. And didn't. This is that story. Stay with it, because by the end, you'll know exactly which moment you're standing in right now. Level 1. The ghost money. $0 to $100. He deposits $60. His hands are actually a little sweaty. For $60. His roommate laughs. "You're gonna check that thing every hour, aren't you?" He says no. He checks it 4 times before breakfast. The number moves up $9 and something lights up in his chest he didn't know was wired in there. Then it drops 11 the next day, and that light turns into a knot in his stomach. Here's the secret. Nobody says out loud. The market doesn't even know he exists yet. His $60 is invisible to it, but it's not invisible to him. And that's the whole point. The first lesson isn't about money. It's about discovering he has almost no control over his own attention. Level 2. The first real wound. $100 to $1,000. 8 months later, he's got $640 in the account, and he buys a stock because it's climbed for 4 straight days. It feels obvious. It feels inevitable. On day 5, it falls 9% in an afternoon. He stares at the screen. His girlfriend asks what's wrong. "Nothing," he says, which is a lie, because he is currently negotiating with himself not to sell, not because he thinks it'll recover, but because selling would make it real. That single afternoon, small, private, forgettable to everyone but him, is the moment that will either build him or break him. He doesn't sell. It drops further. He learns the most expensive lesson in investing costs less than $100 the first time. It won't stay that cheap. Level 3. The trap of winning. $1,000 to $5,000. 2 years pass. He's disciplined now, or thinks he is. He finds a pattern, a certain kind of stock that always seems to bounce after a bad week. He tries it. It works. He tries it again. It works again. His best friend, watching this from the sidelines, says the line that should have been a warning. "Bro, you're actually kind of good at this." He believes it. He sizes up the third trade. Bigger than the first 2 combined. The pattern breaks. It doesn't just fail, it collapses, and the loss erases both previous wins and takes a bite out of his own savings too. He sits on the edge of his bed that night, not devastated, just quiet, doing math he's never had to do before. Level 4. The cost, hiding in plain sight, $5,000 to $25,000. 3 years in, he's rebuilt, and he's careful now, obsessively careful. Then one Sunday, bored, he actually reads the fine print on the fund he's been holding for 2 years, a number he'd ignored. 0.75% annual fee. He does the math on his phone twice because he doesn't believe it the first time. Over 20 years on the balance he's building toward, that small fee is going to cost him almost $18,000. $18,000 for doing nothing but not paying attention. He doesn't panic. He just switches funds that same night, and something in him changes permanently. He stops trusting anything he hasn't personally verified. That instinct is about to become the most valuable thing he owns. Level 5. The month. The math. Woke up, $25,000 to $100,000. 5 years in. He's 31 now. And one ordinary Tuesday, checking the account out of habit more than excitement, he notices something strange. The account grew more this month from the market than from anything he actually put in. He reads that sentence back to himself twice. This is the moment the whole thing stops being theoretical. Weeks later, the market drops 18% in 6 weeks. Real, ugly headline making. His coworker pulls everything into cash. Visibly relieved, he doesn't move. Not because he's fearless. His stomach is in knots, too. But because he's already lived through 4 smaller versions of this exact feeling, and each time, doing nothing was the answer. The recovery comes quietly, without a headline, exactly like it always does. His coworker misses it entirely. Level 6. The room starts to notice. $100,000 to $250,000. 6 figures now. And something shifts that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with identity. At dinner, when the conversation turns to finances, he's no longer the guy who stays quiet. He has context now, vocabulary. His brokerage notices too, offers him tools he didn't have access to before, research that used to be reserved for professionals. But this is also exactly where the expensive mistakes live. A friend at his firm makes one overconfident, deeply researched bet and loses 3 years of progress in a single earnings call gone wrong. Watching that happen up close teaches him something no textbook could. Sophistication doesn't protect you from being wrong. Sometimes it just makes wrong feel more convincing right up until it isn't. Level 7. The line. No one draws for you. $250,000 to $500,000. There's no notification when he crosses this threshold, no email, no milestone banner. Just a Tuesday afternoon when a routine 10% swing in the market moves more money than his parents' entire annual income. He doesn't tell anyone. Who would he even tell? The anxiety in him has changed shape, too. It's quieter now, but it hasn't disappeared. It's not, will I survive this anymore? It's, will I protect what took a decade to build? He starts thinking in decades instead of headlines for the first time in his life, and that shift, more than any dollar amount, is the real marker of this level. Level 8. The myth meets the mechanics. $500,000 to $1 million. And then, on an unremarkable Thursday, the account crosses 7 figures. He sits with his phone in his hand for a full minute, waiting to feel something enormous. What he feels instead is smaller and stranger. Quiet, almost anticlimactic. The word millionaire had lived in his head since he was a kid, carrying a weight that had nothing to do with what $1 million actually does. That myth lasts about 72 hours. Then the real conversations start. An advisor asking about estate planning, tax structuring. What happens to this money after he's gone? Not upsells. The actual mechanics of what he's built. He realizes, almost with a laugh, that the market still doesn't know his name. It never will. The pattern underneath. It. All here's what he sees clearly for the first time, looking back down the whole staircase. Every single level was unlocked by the exact same private moment, repeated 8 different times. The moment he wanted to panic, or brag, or quit, and chose not to. The $60 deposit and the 7-figure account were built by the same muscle. Not intelligence, not luck. The willingness to sit still inside discomfort one more time than the version of him that wanted to run. What it actually cost him. He thinks about what each level really took from him, not in dollars, but in pieces of who he used to be. Level 1 cost him the fantasy that this would be easy. Level 3 cost him his confidence in a pattern he hadn't earned yet. Level 6 cost him the comfort of staying invisible. Level 8 cost him a myth he'd been carrying since childhood. Every number on that account was purchased with a version of himself he had to let go of to get there. He goes back, in his mind, to that 19-year-old with sweaty hands and $60, checking the app 4 times before breakfast. That kid is still in here somewhere. The market never turned around and noticed him. Not at $60, not at $1 million, not once, not ever. It was never going to. What changed was never the market's attention. It was his. And if you're standing at any point on this staircase right now, level 1, level 3, wherever, the market isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's just waiting. The only question that has ever actually mattered is whether you'll still be standing here the next time it tests you.